Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Peace be upon all. This is Moel. Welcome to the Moel channel. This is actually the philosophical Muslim channel rather than the Moel channel, is where I discuss philosophy with my Muslim brothers. One of them is Muhammad Yunus online. I met him online through Facebook. In this video, you can already tell that my layout is a bit different. I'm not in my car, I'm not in my vehicle, I'm in my room pretty much. I'm using a camera and I'm using a mic instead of my cell phone, because usually I used to operate based on a cell phone, okay, and I used to upload the videos that I used to record in the vehicle and put it on the Philosophical Muslim channel on YouTube. You should check it out. Subscribe if you like the content. Nonetheless, we just discuss simple things, simple philosophy. We don't try to delve too much into profound discussions that are academic. But nonetheless, we try to be academically oriented and we try our best to go in depth as possible. As you can tell from the layout, okay, I still need to work on a few things, maybe add a few posters, but nonetheless I have this one painting. And this painting, I had it for a long time in my room because nature outside in this world, we can reflect and ponder, okay? We can reflect and ponder on creation of God, It's for people of wisdom at the end of the day, people of intellect, people of reason, rationality, consciousness, God consciousness. And this picture, it has a mountain, it has a forest, the trees, and a river. It's beautiful, it's magnificent. This cannot be based on a completely serendipitous, random event. This had to be based on calculations. Preordained, predetermined. And this is basically the fact of the matter. It's not serendipitous. It is created nonetheless by a designer, an intelligent super mathematician, if you want to call him that, divine being. In this episode, I don't want to waste anybody's time, but in this particular episode, I want to discuss my first experience with atheists, okay? My personal experience, okay? So no one misrepresents what I'm saying. I'm talking about my own personal experience online, because that's where it began. It began on Facebook when I started being active around 2013, if I'm not mistaken. Because I was always a thinker, okay? I always like to philosophize nonetheless, because I'll be frank, nothing is free from philosophy. And we have to be coherent and rational and logical. We have to be coherent and sound. At the end of the day, we have to make sense when we philosophize, or else it becomes misosophy, becomes incoherent. The bottom line is this: my experience with atheists wasn't pleasant online, and I'll get to the bottom of it. This phenomena arose from this a propagation or a propaganda through social media by people like Sam Harris, Dan Dennett, Richard Dawkins, and Christopher Hitchens. The four horsemen, or one can call them the four ultra-crepidarians, okay, because they misrepresented academia and they misrepresented science and philosophy in general. And this phenomena arose online and in this day and age, pretty much, of atheism. A lot of atheists came out speaking about their position, their own beliefs. Yes, I said the word beliefs. Confidently and out in the open, like it's the new social norm, the new trend, the new thing in fashion. And they talked about it proudly with a blasé, arrogant attitude, being very pugnacious, okay, and cantankerous. Let's be frank now. Atheists the ones that I've dealt with, they began with two narratives, okay? Two narratives that I want to focus on. The first one is science. But it wasn't really science, it was scientism. There's a difference between science and scientism. Scientism is when you take science as a worldview. But science is not a worldview, and it cannot be a worldview, and it's not the only method of attaining knowledge. Matter of fact, science is based on axioms, and I told a lot of atheists this, but they just don't get it. Science is based on axioms, and science is underpinned with philosophical underpinnings. These axioms are pretty much presuppositions, because the last pugnacious, cantankerous atheist that came and talked to us online, he kept mentioning things like the Dunning-Kruger effect, imposter syndrome. But what he didn't know is that he had compounded ignorance. Jahl murakkab. We coined that term, the Muslim scholars, theologians, and philosophers. Jahl murakkab. It's a sign of kufr, a sign of disbelief, a sign of nihilism, atheism, a rejection of basically life and existence. That's what it is. When you have compounded ignorance, that's what ends up happening. You reject the fact of the matter. You reject the truth. You operate based on psychology, emotions. Perhaps you're a bit spiritual as well when you do that type of thing. But the bottom line is this. What I'm trying to get at is that atheists in general are not philosophically savvy. They're not philosophically oriented. They're not academically oriented. And all the, like 99% of the atheists that I've dealt with personally, I'm not trying to say, no, I'm not trying to generalize. I'm just talking about my own personal experience with atheists. If they want to discuss something, it's always through science. Confusing methodological naturalism with philosophical naturalism. And when you ask these lay people, what's your worldview? They don't understand the question. Because they're pugnacious, cantankerous, with a huge ego. And they come online acting like they're in the right. And then second narrative is morality. Remember how I said it has to do with psychology, emotions, and a bit of spirituality? They discuss morality right away because they know that the theist might ask him the question, whence cometh morality? Where does morality come from? Where does morality come from? How do you obtain an objective morality? That's the question now. Some atheists assume they can obtain objective morality through science because they've been beguiled by a man by the name of Sam Harris, who's a Zionist, by the way, but I don't want to go off on a tangent. He's a Zionist lover. He's been assigned by the academic elite, the people in power, the Zionists, to come and propagate atheism, because Zionism is aligned with atheism nonetheless. But a lot of people don't know this. Sure, it's political, and I don't want to get political. Let's stay philosophical nonetheless. So you have this man by the name of Sam Harris, okay, who's propagating nonsense, misrepresenting philosophy and academia, and is incoherent, writing books like The Moral Landscape. Then you got atheists coming out of the woodwork with their blasé attitude, telling me when I first used to engage with him, doesn't this guy know that we have possessed a moral compass? You idiots. You cretins. Our Prophet told us about the fitrah, our innate disposition. Yeah, that moral compass we all have from the divine. It's a mercy from God. He put it into us. He embedded it into our innate disposition so we can basically sense and distinguish between a true morality and a false morality. But nonetheless, we need an anchorage. We need a foundation, or else we might be operating based on our own temptation of the ego. And that's what y'all been doing, talking about moral compass. Yet morality is subjective. And if you delve into it more deep, as I said, we might delve based on an in-depth level, try to get a bit profound. If you delve into it from a deeper lens, if you may say that, if it's subjective and it's predicated on atheism, then fundamentally it's moral nihilism. Because if my own opinion is versus your own opinion versus someone else's opinion and so on and so forth, it cannot be grounded in anything. It's nonsense upon stilts, like Jeremy Bentham said. Okay, this is all from the top of my head, by the way. Jeremy Bentham is the father of utilitarianism. So, just to make it quick, it's all based on psychology, and the reason they started operating based on morality and scientism, more so morality, is because they're afraid to be judged by the theists, who will tell them, listen, you guys are immoral. It's all psychological with these guys. Y'all afraid to be judged. That's what it is. You don't want to be judged, and you don't want people to basically accuse you of anything, being immoral. So what? You're an atheist. So what if someone tells you you're immoral? It's all based on expediency at the end of the day, because that's what what's his name, John Stuart Mill, who's basically a student of Jeremy Bentham, if I'm not mistaken, argued from. Because that's what Jeremy Bentham argued from, expediency, when it came to morality, utilitarianism, consequentialism. Then you have people like John Locke, who tried to argue from human rights, natural rights. Okay, nonsense upon stilts, like Jeremy Bentham called them. Nonetheless, this is just my experience in a nutshell with atheists. They're very cantankerous, and they like to go off on a tangent, throw red herrings, discuss morality as if this is supposed to reveal anything from their own position, their own worldview, when it's fundamentally naturalism. I've never met an atheist who's consistent. Even a nihilist, I've discussed with a nihilist who has a PhD in philosophy, and this man pretty much he started to quote academics arguing for nihilism. How lame is that? I mean, what's the point? Well, it doesn't matter, bro. You're a nihilist. Why are you even wasting time discussing with me as a monotheist? You're shooting yourself in the foot with your own misosophy, because that's what it is, an antipathy towards wisdom. And the reason I have this photo, and I want to finish up real quick, I have this photo because it has nature in it. It has things that we can reflect upon. This is from the divine, nonetheless. Look at this beauty. This is motivational. When I look at it, I feel motivated. I feel like, look at this. Even though because I'm in the city, I wish I lived somewhere close to the mountains and rivers and forest and the animals. Connect a bit with it. Develop God consciousness even more. Nonetheless, what does the Quran say? Okay, the Quran says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار والفلك التي تجري في البحر بما ينفع الناس وما أنزل الله من السماء من ماء فأحيا به الأرض بعد موتها وبث فيها من كل دابة وتصريف الرياح والسحاب المسخر بين السماء والأرض لآيات لقوم يعقلون. Behold, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, in the alteration of the night and day, in the sailing of the ships through the ocean, for the profit of mankind, in the rain which Allah sends down from the skies, and the life which He gives therewith to an earth that is dead, in the beasts of all kinds that he scatters through the earth, in the change of the winds and the clouds which they trail like their slaves between the sky and the earth. Indeed are signs for a people that are wise. So please reflect. Look outside the window. If you live in the city, don't look outside the window. Matter of fact, if you live in the city, go out, go on a hike. Look at nature, look at the mountains, look at the trees, the forest, the beasts, the river, the ocean. Look into nature and you will see. Look in the cosmos, matter of fact, the heavens and the earth, the alteration between night and day. The ship is a sign. The way we construct a ship that can float. And this was a time in 7th century Arabia. So a ship made out of wood that is heavy should sink. But due to the knowledge behind it, that we, from our metaphysics, we have embedded it in that ship. We have constructed that ship based on knowledge. And it can float. It can float in the sea. And the beauty about the Quran is trying to basically talk to a 7th century Arab. Now, look at in this day and age, we live in advanced science and technology. We're advanced in science and technology. We have planes that fly through the cloud and above it, matter of fact. And we developed rockets that can actually pierce through the atmosphere and go to the moon, as an analogy. How steel metal can float in the sky. Steel metal. It's not even a biological entity. It's steel, something heavy that would collapse and fall. This is a sign that we have, that our metaphysics are from the divine, and we must use them. That's why Allah says, لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ, for a people of reason, a people of intellect, a people of wisdom, not just logic. I mean, AI can compute faster than us. We managed to give AI, well, like computers basically, we managed to construct these solid objects with a motherboard and all these technological advancements in them to be able to compute and calculate rapidly. You know what I'm saying? Just based on algorithm, nothing else. And that's what you can have, a mini calculator that can calculate like advanced math. You know what I mean? But when it comes to wisdom, intellect, reason, we cannot give that to an AI. We cannot give wisdom to an AI. Wisdom is something mystical. Okay. Anyways, I don't want to digress, but that's all I have. And you need to reflect. Okay. You need maybe get a painting like this one and just look at it. Reflect. You know, or go for a hike. Have some wisdom. Connect with the divine through the signs, because these are signs. God put these signs, and even not just signs that are physical that we can look at, but also from within our own metaphysics. Free will. Can you give free will to a robot? Can you give free will to can you create even free will? Do you even know what free will is? It's something mystical as well, just like consciousness. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say, that my experience with the atheists was lousy, because they suck at philosophy. You got people like T-Jump hopping around and jumping, being depressed, and oh man, jump off a cliff. The hell you doing talking about he wants some when he talks about morality, he's pretty much trying to create a heaven, a utopia. Okay, yeah, we believe in a heaven as well, where you won't hear any lies or anything in vain, vanity. Okay, so you have to know that this is a test. This reality is a test. Nothing more. Nothing less. It's just a test. You either pass it or fail it. There's no other choice. And everyone gets his own test in life. So if you want to deny the divine and say, okay, there is no God because this reality is not perfect, then you don't know what you're talking about. This philosophy. Okay? And I'm not just trying to attack this guy because I don't even know him. I don't want to even talk to him. I'm just saying that there's a lot of atheists online with the same thinking, the same line of philosophy and antipathy towards wisdom. Y'all need to wake up. That's all I'm going to say. Without God, nihilism is the fact that matter. Without ultimate accountability. That's the bottom line. You become Warren Buffett and you be quiet about it. Don't even philosophize. That's all I have to say. Peace out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.